Well, welcome back, my friends, to another rousing rendition of Choir Boys Cutlery Outdoors, an ADV classic butcher rendition, if you will. Right there, let's just jump into it. Right there in the pocket clip, that's a roller. Now I didn't look up what it was made of or anything like that, and does it help? I don't really know, but it's cool as shit. It actually, I felt like it helped pulling it in and out of the pocket, and I wanted to point that out before we got too far in there. Here's just a good look at the knife. You see some good jimping there. We're going to talk about all that in a minute. I've got to thank Scott over at Big Bore Knife and Gear. Big Bore Knife and Gear. I'm going to pin a comment in the comments with a link to his channel. Man, if you're not subscribed to Scotty, go over there and subscribe to him. Again, it's Big Bore Knife and Gear. You can also find him on Instagram. Check him out, man. And Scott, thank you, dude. I actually love this knife. He sent 4 different blades. We've done a review on a couple of them. Now, I'm going to do the review on the Yojimbo next, but I wanted to jump on this one because I absolutely adore this knife. Now, before we get way far into it, there was a time in this country where 22 veterans a day took their own lives. Now, stats are all over the place, and when I say that, what I mean is, depending on what stat you read, that number is higher than 22 or lower than 22. The number that I want to focus on is 0, guys. Anything over that is simply unacceptable. Vets, we love you. Man, you have a place here. We back to blue over here. We support Lil all to the chagrin of many. How do you do that, Scab? Well, we don't break the damn law. And when we do, because we have, we accept responsibility. And finally, if you're an addict, never quit quitting. So, again, thanks to Scott over at Big Bore Knife and Gear. Now, this is the ADV Classic Butcher. I believe it come out in 2016. Here's the thing, guys, with this channel. We're not here to show you the latest and great. We're not here to show you, we're not the QVC. I say that a lot. My goal is to bring you some of the best blades on the planet, some of the coolest, some of the most different looking. And thanks to a whole lot of folks, we've been able to bring you some just kick-ass blades. And here's another one. The other part of my channel is a learning experience for me. And when I say that, I'm not just talking about learning to use the knife. I like to learn about the knife, how it operates, the whole thing, the designer's thought process. And the designer on this is Andre de Villiers. And I'm sure I butchered that. And Mr. de Villiers, I'm sorry, he is of South African descent. Let me give you some stats on it. The blade stock is 3/16. It's S35VN, which I absolutely adore. And let's just park right there. S35VN was designed to offer a little some improved toughness over S30. It's also easier to machine and easier to sharpen than S30. So kind of an upgrade, and it probably depends on who you ask there. I like both steels, but S35VN I really like. I really do. I enjoy the steel. It is a little easier to sharpen. It fits my needs. So it's a S35VN blade, and you can see that hamon that's been etched there. This is a gorgeous knife. It is a Warncliffe style. The overall length is 9 inches. The blade length is 3 3/4. The cutting edge is 3 5/8. The handle, or the knife if it was closed, was 4 3/4. Now that inner grip is right at 4 inches. It will accommodate most hands. And when I talk about the inner grip, that's where you see my knuckles resting there. It's pretty self-explanatory. But, here and there, people, whatever. We're going to move on from that. The inner grip, to me, on the handle is one of the most important parts of that handle, and it's right at 4 inches. It has 2 really deep fullers that, to me, I like the aesthetic of them. I'm sure that fullers have a purpose, or the blood groove, whatever you want to call it, depending on what part of the country you're from. And that also pisses people off when people say it, so I like doing that. Warncliffe style blade. Now, this video is a little different. We're not going to do any chopping. We're not going to do batoning. This is a hollow grind. It's a Warncliffe, so it's sharp as shit. My goal with this knife was to cut and slice as much stuff as we can, and I believe I accomplished that. The video is almost 13 minutes long. But look at that blade, man. Even though it's 3/16 inch blade stock, they did a damn jam up job on this thing, man. It is a thin, slicey edge, which I absolutely adore. And I know that it's knife geometry and all that crap, but that's not what our channel's about. We focus on function and all that, and it functions very, very well. Overall, it seems like a superbly built knife. The handle is made of titanium. It is that frag pattern, which I like. It has a sharpening choil on it. Has some jimping on the blade. Looks aggressive, not that aggressive. It came razor sharp. It's a flipper. It checks the boxes for me. It's a heavier knife, and I do apologize. I did not get a weight on it, but it rides in the pocket very, very well, and it's just a cutter. To me, that's what a knife is. Now, y'all know, and of course, y'all know I'm going to do that shit right there where I don't keep it on camera the whole time. And my finger was never in any danger. I do want y'all to know that. I was thinking of that when I was doing that, but I barely got it in there. But here's the thing, guys. This is like the Wharncliffe's more of a, I think cleaver style, something like that, sheep's foot, whatever. It's just a damn slicer. It's a workhorse of a knife. It's built really well. And here's another part of the thing where I just do something stupid. I decided to cut the water hose open that way. Why? Who knows? But I wanted to cut as many different, whether it was hose, no matter what it is, we cut a lot of ratchet straps. Man, this thing is a slicing machine. And again, Scott, man, thank you for sending this thing because one, it's well built. It's a frame lock. The other thing that, guys, you'll see me doing a lot in a pocket knife demonstration or review for me is I like to open and close it a lot. If I can do it one-handed, I like to show that a lot. Not just to show it repeatedly, but if you'll notice, I try to show it if we do like some straight cuts where there's pressure on that pivot, like I'll show you one in a minute where we just kind of push straight down and put as much pressure on that pivot as we can. I like to turn around and open and close it. See if there's any lock up there. See if there's anything there. And I can tell you there's not. The main thing that I liked about this knife with the handle was it was very, very comfortable in hand. Now we've got that fencing grip, which I like. And here's just a piece of water hose. But right there, just kind of sliding around it. And again, we'll make some just quick cuts right here just to give you a good idea. Now, bear in mind when you see a little push there, see it push a little more, and you can see me almost really kind of pushing a little harder. When you work with hose and stuff like that, that's not tied down, that's not secured, it's just free hanging, it does make it a little more difficult, and that's why I like to do it that way. Man, that's a gorgeous, gorgeous looking blade. And right there again, the one-handed open and close. Here's that polypropylene rope that I absolutely despise. This blade had zero problem with it. Zero problem with it. The sharpening choil, I did want to mention this too. Sometimes with a sharpening choil, I'll get it hung up a lot, especially if I've gone from a blade without one for a couple of days to a blade with one. I tend to stick it in too far. Not with this knife. I don't know that I got it hung up any with this knife. I don't know if it's the design. I don't know if I was more aware of it. But I did want to mention that because it's aggravating as shit 9 times out of 10 when you do it. Now, right here, just some straight cuts. Is that putting much pressure? No. But you can see how it just punctures and glides in. And that's always something that's a little more impressive with me. I just smacked a mosquito on the back of my head, about cut my head. That was brilliant. But the thing that impresses me with a Wharncliffe each time, it's got pretty good stabbing power. It really does. Would it be my first go-to? No. But it works. And that's what we focus on. Now, right here, we're just going to cut this paracord up. Again, I didn't want to do any batoning. I didn't want to do any chopping. One, it's not my knife, okay? Two, with a Wharncliffe style, you can do some. I have done some. But with it being kind of a hollow grind, it's just too easy for me to twist the wrong way, and I didn't want to do any damage, right? I don't know that you could. The knife doesn't seem feeble at all. But with it not being my knife, I just made that decision. Now, there, I wanted to show y'all the roller again. And right there, honestly, looking at it from this vantage point, I think it's a cool aesthetic, and it does seem to help. I did notice putting it in and out, it worked, especially on the pull-out. You can see there how it would ride in the pocket. I don't think that's a deep carry, but it does ride a little lower. Now we're going to just slice up some denim. There is kind of a thing behind slicing up the denim. When I was a kid, man, I got my leg hurt really, really bad in the woods. Hit my knee riding a four-wheeler doing shit I wasn't supposed to, of course. Got home, I couldn't get my damn jeans off. Why, when I see denim with a knife in my hand, I think I ought to cut it? Well, probably because I cut my jeans trying to get them off and got in trouble, especially since about cut my damn leg off. The knife was dull. So I had a bad knee and a cut on my leg. What's that got to do with this knife? Nothing. It's sharp. But I thought you'd like to enjoy that. Now, again, right here, well, I did get it hung up a little bit right there. But I think that was the only time. And again, guys, that's not a huge thing with me, especially the more I use a knife. Like if I'm aware that it has a sharpening choil, I do change it. But I was impressed with this knife that it wasn't like a constant thing. Small thing, I know, but it's just one thing I noticed. A lot of people wonder why I cut the pool noodles like this. To me, I don't know. There's just something you can just almost feel the sliciness of the knife, the way it goes through. There's no real tug, no real pull, just kind of glides through. I will say this again, for 3/16 inch blade stock, man, they did a jam up job putting an edge on this. And right here, we're just cutting some stuff up. That's what I wanted to do this whole video, was cut and slice, not go crazy, not do the bang and bash. I don't think that's what this knife's made for. I think it's made for cutting. It's a cutting tool. I think it excels at that. And here's the deal, guys. For all the footage that you see, there's probably double to triple that you don't, that I edit out. So there's a lot of cutting on these edges. Plus, I've carried it the past couple weekends and used it. So this isn't a brand new edge out of the package, certainly not. It held its edge really well, in my opinion. Right there, nice even slice. The knife was easy to maintain. I can tell you this, I'll give it a good strop and I'll send it back. And Scott, man, thank you again. Real quick, got a minute left. Guys, listen, Donnie B all day, my brother from another mother. Great channel, check him out. Joe, Steel Forged and Fire Sword and Knife, check him out. Grugsy, Legion Tacticals, check him out. Scott, over at Big Bore Knife and Gear, man, it's almost a must. Please check him out. My guy Pistol Pete is rocking on, check him out. Angry Dracolope, and congrats to my guy Isaac the Noob for not only going over 1,000 a month or two ago, but getting us 4,000 hours, man. Great job. Guys, I'll shout people out because I love to see them grinding. I love to see them working. I love to see our community excelling because we move forward together. That said, listen, I love this damn knife. I really, really do. That frag pattern's comfortable in hand. It's just got an aggressive, super dope, badass look to it. And the thing you need to remember more than any of this is this. I'm Scab. You're not. I'm gone, son. Love y'all. Well, most of you.